Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside... That was so loud. Where there are no outside issues. My name's Anthony. I'm an addict and an alcoholic, another bozo on the bus, and I care about you.
Yes, and I'm LouiLou. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm in recovery for crystal meth and alcohol. And I'm always in search of balance. Yes, and each week we strive to foster a brave space where we can engage in conversations centered around topics of recovery.
And our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for more people in recovery by tackling issues sometimes used to separate us.
Yes, but before we do that, please like, share, and comment, and rate this episode.
Rate this episode.
But as Anthony says, only rate it if you got good things to say.
Yeah, if you don't have anything nice to say.
Otherwise, talk to us on the street in person.
Keep that shit to yourself.
Thank you.
Tell someone else.
We don't dirty
like,
laundry.
if you don't like us, why watch us?
Ooh.
And then why tell us about it?
Bang, bang, bang,
Bang. And now the disclaimer. The thoughts and opinions and the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on at the CCC are ours alone. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. The information shared here is for general information purposes only. In other words, we're just a couple of friends behind a mic here to entertain you.
Yes. Hey, so I apologize about that being so loud, but I had been listening back on older episodes and realizing that I was kind of flat in that opening. And,
For about 2 years. For about 2 years. Yeah.
So it's kind of flat, and it felt like felt kind of robotic and whatever. And I wanted to kind of like liven it up and whatever for about 2 years.
Yeah,
whatever.
That shit caught me by surprise. But Stephen, did we ever change the title for today's show? Did we? No. We don't need to. I'm only asking because I want to tell people why it might not look the way it needs to look.
But before we do that,
let's.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Are you just okay?
Don't do that.
Okay, no, I want to do some more kind of
active listening,
motivational interviewing.
I'm doing really good. Let's see, what things can I report? I started my placement in August. Yay, so close. Benji and I were going to Nevada City. It's one of our favorite places to go. We're leaving this week on Thursday.
Oh, seriously? This is, I'm depressed now.
Why are you depressed?
Because I was hoping to see you guys this weekend.
What's this weekend?
Nothing. I was just hoping to see you.
Oh, nope. Well, so we'll be in
wow. It's like I'm a shot to the heart.
And you're too late.
You give love
a bad name.
Okay, yeah. No.
I don't know the rest of this.
No, exactly.
So,
well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy. Yeah, that's good.
How about you? How are you doing?
I'm good, but what the hell do you do in Nevada City?
There's so many trails.
Whoa, oh, okay. I don't want to hear anymore.
Yeah.
No more. I'm good.
It's so like you.
We like to go hiking and be all spiritual and stuff.
We're staying at an Airbnb and there's like a hot tub and there's a movie set up.
Oh,
and
nice. And a camera. And a camera, and you'll be able to show the video to some of your closest friends.
What are you talking about?
Wink. I'm kidding.
You know what? I just realized that I just had Gyro Express.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't brush my teeth or anything, so my mic is going to smell like falafel.
This is an ongoing thing. I bet you we can catch a bunch of clips of him talking about what the mic smells like because of him.
I have a really sensitive sense of smell.
Well, I'm good. Thank you for asking.
I did ask you.
I thought I didn't hear it because I didn't hear it because I heard a conversation about Gyro Express.
Because you were too busy thinking about the next thing you were going to say.
Whoa.
But how are you doing?
I am good, actually. Yesterday I stayed in all day. I just needed a day to kind of recharge my battery.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I recharged and I'm good. I'm really good.
I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so today's topic, we're still talking about pathways to recovery, navigating navigating the criminal justice system. Today we were supposed to have a guest on who didn't show up. So
well, it was a misunderstanding. Those misunderstandings happen.
What?
It was a misunderstanding because the person probably thought that they were here next week.
How do you know that?
Because I had a conversation with him.
And you're only now telling me this.
I told you that before.
I
had a conversation with him and I said, because I went up to him and I'm all, really excited to see you this coming week. He said, oh, I'm on for next week.
Oh.
And so when I didn't say anything, I didn't feel the need to say anything when I saw the advertisement for the other one. So I was like, I thought that maybe it was my mistake. So basically, I'm going to take responsibility for this as well. I believe that's why I said I believe this is a collective.
God's will.
It is God's will.
It's God's will.
Absolutely.
So what we decided we were going to do is talk about the last few episodes, which, God's will, because I know you and I have been talking a lot about like the last few episodes, like just some of the things that came up around criminal redemption and just reflecting on some of the other topics that we saw come up, and maybe just like have a kiki.
Have a kiki and then definitely talk about what we can look forward to the coming, seasons.
So there is one announcement that I want to make. The first is that we will be taking May off.
As usual. We're on the quarter system, just like college. So
we'll be taking May off. We'll be taking May off, and then we'll be back in June 5th, and we're switching our days. So we won't be filming live on Tuesdays anymore. We're moving to Wednesday at 8 p.m. So we'll be back June 5th at 8 p.m. on Wednesday.
In hopes that we are able to get more of you to participate in our live conversations. I mean, that's what really drives us. You are our lifeblood.
Yeah. So Louis, I mentioned this off air, but I want to bring it up again. So one of the things that someone, a bit of feedback that we got is that someone asked us, they said they wished that we would talk about topics other than recovery.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, it's something that my sponsor and I do. We read books, all sorts of books, everything. Like we read How to Be an Anti-Racist, the Four Agreements, all of those things. And what we do is we bring our perspective as sober men to the conversation.
I see.
And so I think that there's a way we can find topics that kind of meet at the intersection.
Sure.
And have those conversations. Because I think the idea, or what I'm understanding now, is that everything that touches me or can affect me is a part of my recovery.
I agree with you. If it has the ability to impact your recovery, it's related to your recovery.
Exactly. Like we say, our tagline is there are no outside issues.
That's right.
And so we get to talk about any and everything we want to. We talk about dungeons next week. Hey, no, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
So the first thought that comes to my mind, and also for people listening in, two things. First thing is, of course, if there's anything that's like we've talked about over the last couple of months that you want to chime in on, any thoughts, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be related to what we're talking about at present. Feel free to chime in. And the second thing is, so we only see comments if they're sent while we're on air. So if we're not on air, we're not going to see comments. So I'm saying that because there have been some comments that we see that are left after 5:00 and the show ends at 4:45.
Yeah.
And then we do the podcast exclusive stuff, but that, we wouldn't see that.
So hopefully you can join us before that time.
Yeah.
If not, I think that, we might actively look, or actually our producer will respond to you later.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. I know.
Thank you, Stephen.
That's wonderful.
That was quick. So I was thinking about, when we talk about like the criminal redemption episodes, the one thing that comes to mind is how heavy my heart felt after all those conversations. I remember when Robbie came on and there was just a feel, I walked away thinking to myself, fuck, life can get really hard.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're navigating the judicial system.
There was a part of me that was, okay, if it's possible to be hopeful and hopeless at the same time, because I was thinking about some of the struggles. I was listening again to that episode and I was thinking, well, he's got some of the challenges with that higher power, but then also kind of now that, and I had ended up asking the same question to the other two, so now that you don't have the requirement of doing these, how do you maintain? And that's a tough one because you're floating on your own. This is
right.
And When we're not careful, the messaging that we can send ourselves, this way we justify not doing what we need to do.
Right.
And what is it that we need to do? Because again, I want to be careful not to sound judgmental or whatever, or critical of how somebody processes or works through things.
Yeah. And you said the challenge of a higher power. It's interesting because when he mentioned not having a higher power, I just thought about all my friends in recovery who they don't, like they've found ways to kind of like fill in what might be considered by some people a gap in recovery.
Absolutely.
So that I didn't see that so much as a challenge as I did like.
I pieced that together with the fact that he was having talked about challenges of going to meetings.
Yeah.
And I think that like, if.
Ooh, can I make a confession?
Yeah, make a confession.
My meeting attendance has been so bad recently.
You know what? I was talking to somebody about this. Okay, so meetings.
About my meeting attendance?
No, not yeah, about your meeting attendance. My meeting attendance has been off. You know what? I was talking to a couple friends at kind of lunch earlier, and well, meetings, especially for 12-step to talk about, it's an opportunity for people to find us. Meetings are, in my mind, an extension of fellowship. The work that I do with my sponsor and my sponsees, when I sit across from somebody, that's the program. And there are going to be times when I don't go to a lot of meetings because life gets bigger or whatever. And this is the thing that I talk about in my description of me, always trying to find balance. Sometimes I have more, sometimes I have less. And I get to get some acceptance around how I'm doing this and not get caught up in how someone else does it. And because without knowing, we judge ourselves.
Yeah.
This is where Bonnie would chime in and say, give yourself some grace. Oh, Jaylon writes, don't feel bad, Anthony, because I haven't called my sponsor in a minute.
That's okay. I'm sure your sponsor is very forgiving and understands that he too hasn't called his sponsor in a while.
I call my sponsor. Nora,
hi, Nora. Oh my God, Nora.
Nora, you made it on.
Nora, what is that? Or who is that a picture of?
Yeah, that is Cecil Williams. It's like
the Reverend Clyde.
Clyde. He passed away yesterday.
Oh, rest in peace.
I know. Rest in peace.
Hi, Nora.
Nora, I'm so glad you made it on.
I thought Steven was going to tell us there was another comment, but he was just scratching his armpit.
Yeah, this topic about for 12-step in particular, this topic about meeting attendance and things of that nature, that can be a whole hour of.
Well, can I say one thing is that it's also interesting to me because when AA was first founded, there weren't very many meetings, right? And it's also like the number of meetings that we have access to in San Francisco is not typical, right?
Exactly.
There are over 600 meetings in 600 12-step meetings in San Francisco. That it's not like that in like where I'm from. I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania. We have a lot of meetings, but it's definitely not in the hundreds.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I also think there is a way that like I can use my recovery against me. So I'm like, I can beat myself up over not going to certain meetings, which
absolutely.
is like shaming, like almost shaming myself into that. I mean,
that becomes a question, like it can't become a question about measuring how do you determine whether or not you are successful AA or whatever. And the truth of it is like there are some days when all I can do is just exist. If I didn't pick up and drink today, that's I get to take that win.
Yeah. And if you did pick up and use that day.
Oh, you know what? If I still have an opportunity to do better,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing too. It's like the shame and guilt that is attached to all that. Like, I mean,
yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. And like, I think about kind of like the function of like shame in recovery, like how for some people when they go out, it's like really hard for them to come back because they're, they feel embarrassed or they feel like a feeling of guilt.
My responsibility, I had an amazing sponsor who helped me to see, you know what, sometimes it's better just to stay out of it. If I can't lift you up and encourage you and not make your issue about me, because that's generally what we do. Like I've got fear around me possibly relapsing because I'm pretty self-centered, and it has nothing to do with, and there's no concrete evidence to suggest that if I show you love and treat you with decency, that I'm going to catch relapse.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I'm thinking about other episodes too, but I'm also kind of struck by, I was thinking about like Dragon Recovery, and it was so nice to have those people on. But I was thinking,
it was light and caring and loving, and
yeah, it was really nice.
We needed that because we have a comment.
Oh, let's see it. Someone time we other recovery thing besides meetings. Sometime we other recovery things. Sometimes we need other recovery things, not just meetings. Thank you, Nora. Yeah, that's right. Jalon writes, Anthony, it's funny you bring that up because there's a story in the NA Basic Text that talks about how there weren't that many meetings. And if you had an issue with somebody, you had to look them in the face because of the lack of meetings and eventually deal with the problem. Oh. So what you're saying is I should start problems at meetings.
Too late. You already did. No, exactly.
Rose.
Hi guys. Rose here down in Fresno. So love this opportunity to see you and feel connected to San Francisco community. We love you.
Rose, what a lovely picture. Thank you for your message.
Thank you.
But I was thinking like Dragon Recovery. What I loved the most about that series was how, at least the way I translated the Dragon Recovery, is that for all of the people that we had, for all of the guests, drag was like this vehicle. It was like a way to form community. It was a way to like express art. And that felt very encouraging, I think
absolutely.
We don't all have to do drag in order to like get in touch with like our creativity.
Not at all, but we have the opportunity. I'm always asking if people want to have experience, because there's so many people who are in the community right now who are super happy to support in any way they can.
With drag?
Yeah, with drag.
Oh, I see.
No, it's a one, like it's this, I think like any additional community you have, like, so we have our 12-step community, but then all of the other different kind of, and I'll just say intersex.
Jalon said drag isn't for everybody.
No, it isn't for everybody, but it's like, I think that if you don't try it, if it's something you want to try it, but you don't try it out of fear, you miss out, because it's like fear can keep you from kind of finding.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Fear can really keep you from finding like what you might be the best at it, but you got whatever block. Like I was talking to somebody about that too. And I just don't think that's me or whatever. But I wanted to try it. No, you know what? Sometimes you just got to step out on faith, fall flat on your face so you can decide if it's something that you don't want to do. That's it.
Yeah. And every single person that we interviewed, I think they all went through something like that.
Absolutely.
Like they all had
Absolutely.
to. And I think the other thing that I really appreciate about everyone that we had is that they saw it as a craft, as like something that you like improve over time.
And the other thing that's beautiful, there are some people that where it's clear that drag is not for them, but they continue to do it.
There's Lewis. Did you go to speaking of drag, did you go to Mascara? Oh yeah, you were in the show. Mascara.
Yes, I was. I got to perform this weekend. It's like, I did you saw my gratitude list.
Wait, so shady.
I know. You saw that I did a gratitude list where I talked about my process. Because usually once I agreed to do it, it used to be that I was so excited to do it. Yay, whatever. Especially if I could find somebody to do my face. But now it's like, it's the doing it, deciding to do it, coming up with a song that I think is significant. Because it's like, for me, it doesn't really matter. What I learned is it doesn't really matter if I pick a song that is going to relate to the audience. If I'm feeling it, they're going to feel it.
That's right.
They're going to feel it. And then it's coming up with a look and whatever. And it's a lot of fun, but it's also, you realize it's my Virgo comes out, I'm a little anxious around it. And I would feel uncomfortable if I wasn't.
You know what that reminds me of? What was her name? There's Shalom. There's this famous supermodel, and she says like just because you take some pretty pictures on Instagram doesn't make you a model.
Absolutely.
And I think like similarly, not that I'm like an authority on drag, but I feel like just because you may look good in drag doesn't necessarily make you a drag queen. And I'm saying this having been, I feel like I was raised by drag queens, but I feel like every single drag queen that I know that in my opinion is really good is like someone who like has to work at it. You know what I mean? They're watching videos of themselves. They are like immersed in the culture. They like form their personalities. They like, it's like truly an art form, and it's actually very hard. I mean, by itself, it's like a very athletic thing to do. Like when you get like, all like just like the padding and the getting dressed and all of that by itself is like a lot.
Thank you, Nora. Nora just said she didn't catch mascara, but she loved the look. I appreciate that.
Oh, she saw your looks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted, you're not on Facebook, and I posted some pictures that Luke, a former took, and there were some pretty good shots. I'm all many in action.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just thinking about drag and recovery.
Exactly, and then also the thing that we talked about more is the spirituality in it, the process, and I mean, I think that when I'm sitting in the audience, and I'll think about myself before I ever performed in drag, I was sitting in the audience and I was thinking, oh, I could do this, and not understanding that the more effortless it looks, I always say the more effortless it looks, it means the more effort. Just what you were saying.
Yeah, you know who I think is a really good example of that? MGM. Like MGM as a performer.
My drag mom.
Is she really your drag mom?
She's my drag mom, yeah.
MGM, I think, is a perfect example of like when she dances and she's moving, like she makes it look so easy. But like I know, like everything she does it looks very seamless, but it's not like I know it's really hard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
There was a comment. Can you put that last comment back up?
Drag doesn't happen overnight.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. And Jaylon's alter ego is a flawless
Gray.
queen.
Oh my God, I know. I saw him. I saw Sione at Mascara, and like I feel like the beat just gets better and better and better. I was like, who is this girl?
Exactly. And they transform. They absolutely transform.
Yeah. And I was living for Sione during the Moulin Rouge number.
Oh gosh, yes, that was okay. For the last Mascara, it was a Broadway theme. It was like theme from musicals, which I always love. That's why I'm always going to perform for that, even if I'm in a walker. And they closed the show with Lady Marmalade from Moulin Rouge. And so the four queens who really kind of gave it. I mean, I told my sponsor the only thing they were missing was the confetti, because it was like going to see Moulin Rouge. It was very impressive.
Good. Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I loved Ophelia Knightley's hair.
I know. It's like I'm all, and that really hair. We were all trying on the wig
really?
at dinner afterwards.
The pink one.
Yeah, because it was like one of those glueless lace fronts, and I'm all those. I'm telling you, that's some good hair.
Are you comfortable with how all over the place we are right now?
I am completely comfortable.
I'm so like, oh my God, we're so scattered.
No, I think it's fine. It's like because we're still talking about. I think we're scattered in the month. We're talking about drag, and next we're gonna pop over to pills, popping.
Yeah. Well, is there anything from the other series that feels memorable to you? No. I was just think. Go ahead.
I didn't say that. I didn't say.
No, I know, but there was too much dead air, so I was feeling.
No, was there dead air?
I thought so.
No, Nora laughing.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I what I can say completely, like, I really enjoyed, it was Bernadette and,
oh yeah.
I was thinking about mind and body. It's like, I'm all,
yes.
And I mean, we have to have Bernadette back because she I was going to say Venmo'd in. Yeah, you can Venmo in if you want to. She was, or video, but we had a lot of really good information about like, body positivity. And then also, wasn't Anka the week before?
Anka, I think, was the week before. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Starting us out. I really feel like...
I miss her.
I really feel like what we were talking about, like what we use at our off time is to really think about how we want to show up and approach this process. And I really think that it was good for us to kind of have regular guest and kind of have focused months so that we go deep in instead of what has happened in the past, where we'll talk about something and then we have a lot of leftover stuff that we haven't really kind of talked about, and then we get so excited about all the new topics we don't go back to the older topics.
Yeah, that's true. One of the things I was thinking about was during when we were doing like medication and recovery, was that for like and I mentioned this last week and I brought it up a couple other times, but I was like really depressed. I was on a mood stabilizer and then we were transitioning me to another mood stabilizer, and it was really, really hard. And I remember like I had a lot of suicidal ideation and it was really dark. And then recently, you know, like I've come out of it, and so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the depression felt really useful. Like I feel like the depression, when I was able to get out of it, made me very grateful for the relationships that I have, like the people who checked up on me, or the people that I would see who I like being around, or like even at mascara. I haven't been to mascara in such a long time, and I would just like my heart was like overflowing to like see the people, like to people in the audience and to interact with people.
Yeah, it's an amazing gift that we have there.
Yeah. And I was like, this is, you know, I guess maybe what I'm talking about is how important these relationships are that I've formed in recovery without realizing how important they are. I mean, I realize how important they are, but like in those times when I am just feeling like not my best, I don't know, people really surprise me, you know, like people just kind of, just so loving. And I don't know. It's like, I think what I'm trying to say is that when I was feeling super depressed, and it was in a really dark place, that like all the little things that everyone did, from like saying hi to checking up on me to sending me a text, like all of those little things, like they gave me what I needed.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And you were open to it. And it's like, that's a big part too. Cause it's like, I'm all roadblocks. I saw that we have a comment.
Oh, let's see it. Jaylon writes, go ahead. You want to take that?
Jaylon's, what I will say about the last couple of interviews is that it definitely made me look at my life and put into perspective just how much privilege I do have in terms of not being limited due to criminal background. Maybe wonder, like, I think a lot of us were, how do they keep the hope? And that's what I was saying.
Ooh,
it's like,
Jaylon.
I agree with you, Jaylon. It's like, because I left thinking, wow, it's like, we already have enough challenges, like, in our head, but it's like, if you had other things that, you know, and it's some scary shit, thinking possibly that like I would lose my freedom, or because of choices I made in the past, that I won't be able to kind of do what I need to do, you know?
Amen. You know, okay. So, you know, one of the things I walked away from is like just how important it is for me to get out of my own shit. Specifically, like I was just thinking about, like, I'm a generally, like, I like being in relationship with people, and, you know, so what I'm like, part of it is, okay, so there's this part where like, when I talk to you, like, yeah, we talk shit or whatever, exactly. Right? Okay. You need those people. What do you call them? Your Judies.
My Judies.
Your Judies, right? Mm-hmm. But I walked away feeling like, oh, this is why it's so important to be kind. This is why it's so important to like be gentle in your interactions, because you don't, God, this feels so trite to say this, but you don't know how much someone is suffering.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, it's like, you just don't. And everyone is suffering to some degree or another. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much time you have. I don't care like if you have all the resources in the world, everyone is suffering. It's just like a condition of being alive, is that we have like
you say all the time, it's like, it's tough being alive. It's tough being human.
It is. It's super tough being alive.
To go back to last month, the month with medication, whatever, like the conversation we had with Jamie about ketamine, and you, like, those conversations are absolutely so important, because I think that we globally get caught up with what other people might think about what we may need.
Right.
And the truth of it is like, if you are being responsible, meaning like you have a doctor, you have therapists or whatever, you have a team of people who are working for your betterment,
Right.
and this is something that you decide or you come up with, then all the other stuff is just noise.
That's right.
And I feel like a lot, it was brave of Jamie and also of you to talk about it. But I feel like when I talk to people beyond that, and when I challenged some folks who had opinions, it helped me to kind of grow in my thinking about that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Nora writes, Anthony, I feel when you and I talk, it's timeless and easy. Love you. Aww, Nora.
I love that.
I love that too.
And we can't leave the month without talking about Dr. Damas.
Oh,
I know. It's like it seems like forever ago, but
I know we're supposed to go to Zumba this Friday. I need to tell him I'm going to be in Nevada City.
Yeah.
It was so nice to have him on.
It was, and then to understand, like, it is so easy for us because we have the privilege to. We were able to come back the following week with that exercise and talk about, because I think that a lot of times when we talk about stuff, we have to. If we're mindful, we want to be mindful of the fact that not everybody has the same kind of access that we might.
Yeah.
And then to be able to kind of have a conversation beyond that, because maybe there is somebody listening who this is their only outlet for recovery.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to drag, but I was just looking at Leo and having Leo on.
Oh, I know. Well, that was the hope that I felt beyond the hopeless, because like there is a way, but for each person, it would be different. Obviously what works for him may not work for the others we had in a month, but I felt like, oh man, it's like he is an example in my mind of like, I have these challenges, but I also don't have to kind of be constrict or,
Yeah. I think that was one of the conversations we had where like we got text messages from people just thanking us for that episode in particular. That was really moving. Well, you know what struck me was that how recent it all was.
I know. I think this month has been about normalizing redemption.
Like for real.
Because I think that I just believe in a society. We don't believe in, the society as a whole, and it's clear in our policies and the way things are set up. We punish people for being human. Yeah. And the reality is I want to celebrate people who like walk through the desert, the fire, and come out and with, still want to be better.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was that. So we had Linda Summers on. Pollo. It was nice to have Pollo on.
Absolutely. Pollo's amazing.
You know what I think about from Pollo's segment was
me, that I was from Sacramento. I listened back to that, and she said Lou's from Sacramento at least 30 times. I'm like, oh my God.
Paul is just fantastic. But remember when I asked Paul, I said, well, what is your, like, do you have any suggestions or advice around people who just aren't as outgoing? And do you remember what he said?
No.
Oh, he was like, that's just not you. You know what I mean? You're fine the way you are.
I remember parts of the conversation because he then talked about his best friend and how they balance each other out. So yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really like about Paul Boyle is that like he's able to kind of make connections. You know what I mean? And he also has the type of personality that you want to listen. Right.
If you're not terrified.
Yeah. If you're not terrified by Paul.
I'm just keeping it real. Love you, Paul.
Yeah.
Love you, Paul, but it's like it's one of those personalities that's like, it is a bright beaming light that can burn you if you're not mindful of it. But I love that we talked about, like, I'm not going to dim it.
Yeah.
Because I think the challenge is to surround yourself with folks who like get it and keep it just as bright as, because it inspires people to kind of like show up show up the way they're supposed to show
I
up.
felt very inspired.
Yeah.
I felt very inspired. Like I walked away from that thinking about, and I've talked to you about this before about like, what are the ways that I restrict myself? You know, like what are the ways that like what are some like ideas that I have about the world or about myself that I need to let go? And I feel like in the last year, I've been like slowly shedding those things.
You've been talking about them. And I think, when we talk about them, we kind of, it's one of the ways when we open our mouths, let the words pass. It's giving it back to the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like if I hold a man thinking that nobody's going to understand why I feel this way, because when you just wake up one day and all of a sudden have these ideas or whatever, this is a culmination of like life, and our living or whatever.
Yeah.
And they served us. I'm working on Drop the Rock in 6 and 7.
That's a good one.
And it's like they served us, and maybe it's that you are finding that they no longer serve you. And if they no longer serve you, then you're taking the steps,
I think
hopefully, to kind of let go of them.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, exactly.
We have 10 minutes left.
We have 10 minutes. Look at us. We made it through the jumble. No, honestly, it's like I love that you mentioned how the suggestion about talking about other things, because my first thought was, we're a recovery podcast. We need to talk about recovery. But one of the things, like I told you, is like my sponsor and I, we started doing is talking about everything and then bringing our relationship to recovery, how we are as recovered men. And that's opened my eyes to see that, like, the only limits I have are the limits I place.
That's
you know?
God, that's real. I'm just reflecting.
I think we have a comment.
Do we?
Yes.
Rose writes, Paul, aka Poyle, shows us to walk with grace no matter what, in my humble opinion, as you guys do with this show. Oh, Rose, thank you.
Just keep it coming. You are amazing.
Very true.
Very true.
Thank you, Nora.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, I feel like one of the things that I absolutely love, I'm going to talk about Benji. One of the things that I love about Benji is that, okay, so let me back up a little bit.
Who's Benji?
Benji's my partner.
Just in case.
In case. So
he just started. It's been a process.
Saying his name.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I was in therapy and my therapist was talking about, like how do we distinguish like healthy relationships from relationships that don't serve us?
Yeah.
And she said, you're in a healthy relationship if you feel like while you're in that relationship, you have the capacity to grow and you don't lose yourself, right? Or you don't feel like you're being like taken from.
Oh, then we're in a healthy relationship.
If we are in a healthy relationship,
yes.
yeah. And so one of the things that I love about Benji is that our relationship is so spacious. What?
Nora's all, wait, you have a boyfriend?
Yeah, Nora, we've been together for over a year.
They've been on the low.
Well, we gave ourselves a probation period before we became public. We said before we go public.
It was like they were pregnant. They waited for a certain trimester.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we got through it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I just that I love about him and our relationship is that it's spacious and I get to grow, and there's like, I get to bring my most vulnerable parts to my relationship and I know that they're going to be taken care of.
That's important.
Yeah, it is really important. And I think by extension of that, I think about like my friendships and stuff like that. It's like, do I have friendships that allow for me to continue to grow, And
that's honestly, that's a tough one, but it's like when you get to that place where you're willing to see that and you see the value.
Yeah.
The value in that. Oh.
Gosh, yeah, I know. And then there's also like, not everyone's going to be your bestie. That's something like one of the things that Paul has said before, right? Like you have to, what did Paul say? You were like, you can
everybody deserves a recovery. It just doesn't have to be next to me.
Yeah. You don't have to sit next to me.
Sometimes you don't have the bandwidth. It's like, if you understand, it's like, I'm not here to try to save the world. That's not my job. And there are some people that I'm going to love you from across the street because I don't have anything to give.
Recently what I've been noticing, there are just some people that when I talk to them, like my insides recoil.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of, my thought is like, oh, you're not a safe person to be around.
Exactly.
And by safe, I mean like, I don't know that I could be in your company without like.
And it may very well be that they are in their process.
And there's someone for everyone.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's the other thing. It's like, I have to be very careful about like, say it loud, Lewis. I have to be very careful. Like, I know that like my opinion of someone or the way I'm reacting to someone may just be me.
Yeah.
And I have to be very careful not to like go out seeking other people to agree with me. I don't do that, you know?
This is why it's like, it's good to take the action. Like if they make you recoil, you can take care of yourself and get away.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be like we did in the past, this dramatic thing where I throw a parade and I announce,
I fucking hate you.
How dare you? Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the beautiful thing, I've been in the program long enough, is that it changes.
It does change.
All of a sudden, and I don't know necessarily that they changed as much as I've changed. And when I change and I no longer recoil and I no longer feel a certain way, and all of a sudden they become this amazing person in my life, or at least someone that I'm not just tolerating.
Well, you know, we have a mutual friend like that, like years ago. I think I've shared about this story before, but he was this like very loud person in meetings and like was just super over the top all the fucking time. And I was in early recovery. Like I was counting days and I hated being around him. I hated when he shared at meetings. And then there was this one day I was like walking up the street here and he came up to me and he put his arm around me and he goes, "Hey, how have you been?" And I was like, "What?" Like this, I was like, this person exists.
Why are you touching me?
Yeah, well, I was a little wondering about that, but I was just kind of like, oh, this is crazy. Like this person is dynamic, and I think that's one of the things that I have to remind myself a lot is that people are dynamic. You know, that people have personalities, that they have friendships, and like who knows what purpose those things serve for them. We have a comment. Rose writes, "My first sponsor shared with me that I don't have to be friends with everyone in recovery, as not everyone in recovery is where I'm at, and I need to allow for them to grow at their own pace."
Absolutely. Grow in the direction, grow into God, grow in the direction that you're supposed to grow into. Exactly.
Grow into God.
Yes.
So I think we need to start landing the plane.
Absolutely. So I really enjoyed today.
Did you?
I enjoyed today because it's like we, taking a little extra time to talk about, because this season has been really kind of intense.
It has been a very intense.
It's been intense. It's great. It's been great to have more people in the studio with us. That's something new that we always wanted to have more people on. Yeah,
we're going to be filming live at the conference, right?
I know. Yeah. If you're going, please, Living Sober. What are the dates? It's like us.
Whoops.
Yeah. No,
wait. He has it.
Huh?
July 5th.
July 5th through the
7th.
So July 5th through the 7th here in San Francisco, the Western Roundup Living Sober Conference. Folks like to say it's the oldest living gay lesbian.
James is rubbing his eyes because he thinks we're boring.
I know. We have someone else in the studio. He's judging us. Yeah, but we last year we did a live taping or like recording there.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was fun, and there was some really great participation from the audience. It was a really good time. Rose writes, "Great show today and great show all year. July 5th through the 7th. See you there." Thank you, Rose.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Let's see. So let's start landing the plane.
We're going to land the plane. And please, the Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
We provide programs and services that help people change their lives by supporting personal growth.
Our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community, opportunity, and support.
You can find more information, including all the ways to contact us at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcast.
Yes, and tune in every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when we go live on our Castro Country Club Facebook and YouTube channels.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. How was that?
Could you imagine if we held our breath during that time while we were waiting? We both pass out before he ended this. It's like I'm not saying you should. Yeah, that was good.
That was fun. Yeah.
Well, it was a reminder, like I was telling you, because we are gonna.
God, we're so organized. I didn't realize how organized our episodes generally are.
No, they are completely. I think that what felt scattered is because we're both Virgos. What felt scattered was not.
Oh, you're right.
It was exactly what we wanted to do. And I think sometimes it's kind of like what you were saying. You said a while back, you talked about, I like when things don't go the way necessarily that they plan. There's beauty in that, because like sometimes when you just trust and practice the third step. And for those who don't know, the third step is like turning our will and our lives, which my sponsor says my thinking and my actions over to a care of something else.
Yeah.
And the something else happened to be good conversation.
Yeah.
With people that I love.
Yeah, samesies.
And I love the interactions, like the comments or whatever.
Yeah, they were free flowing today.
I think that like so I was telling you before, when we have interviews, you know, especially like more personal like they were, folks aren't able to ask the kinds of questions.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think that, moving forward, because we were going to talk about, happen. We'll try to balance that out, balance it out so that we can definitely have you participate, because I think we definitely, it's great to have folks on to be able to tell their story and kind of expose us to things that we don't have to pay attention to.
Yeah. It's hard to focus because I'm holding a fart in right now.
Okay. Wow. It's like, I was getting all.
I'm like listening to you, but I'm like, it's starting to get like hard.
Oh, I have to urinate, but I didn't say it. I didn't say it because it's like I was drinking my, like, wow. God bless you. I'm just glad that it came out of your mouth and not your butt.
I know. It feels like one of those where you're not sure if it's just a fart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I don't want to take any.
Yeah, we don't want to take any chances.
Do you have any other thoughts?
I don't think so. I think I feel like we can wrap early.
We can just wrap up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah,
we just make sure that we make the necessary phone calls or send out the emails
Girl,
so that we
stop.
So that we're not having another week of recapping. We're gonna recap.
We're gonna recap the recap.
We're gonna recap this episode next week.
Oh man. Well, okay. So if you've listened this far on the podcast, thank you. If you listen to us regularly, we love you and appreciate you. If this is your first time, please come back, and we love you too. And that's it. Bye.